Hi, and welcome to Sandy's Numerology. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about 2020. And as I happen to be a South African, I kind of will keep referring to South Africa, but this is about the world. 2020 adds to a 4, which is all about structures, restructuring. Normally, when we are in a recession as a country, because we were also going into a 4-year on the 31st of May, we do fixing and repairing. But I don't think that's going to be happening. Hopefully it does. But it's all about what hasn't worked before or hasn't been working, or if you have been doing business in the old ways, that's over. And that's all because of technology. 4 means structures, so it's the collapse of structures, which includes political parties, collapsing of industries. We go from mining, education, banking. 4 is dictatorship, so it also wants to control, wants to put rules in place where we should be defining new rules for the new structures that are going to be emerging. So new systems, new business, new structures, solar, battery, technology, and even transportation as we know it is all coming to an end. Change in the economic systems, with the banks collapsing, that is going to be a new way of finances. And it's not Bitcoin. It is how the people want to do banking. So in a 4-year, we look at Hong Kong and all of the mass action that is going to be happening and gaining momentum around the world. New powers will emerge. There's still going to be people trying to hang on to the money and how they control the money, but the people are going to be rising and saying no. So can you imagine, for example, we decide, instead of Eskom switching off, we switch off. Can you imagine if we decide not to pay our taxes? That means the collapse of that structure, which then affects treasury, which then affects state-owned enterprises. 4 is earth, metal, and wood. So those are the hard industries. So it's manufacturers, for example, mining, for example. But because it's about the earth, this is the year of major shifting of earth. And Mother Nature has her own powers. When we have a lot of water, and if there's any shifting in the plates, because the earth is 70% water and that water gets into that shift, it starts to push. So there's going to be a lot of activity regarding earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. Sinkholes will start appearing rapidly. Weather, a 4 does not mean rain. However, for some countries, depending on where they are numerically, might have rain, and some will have very destructive rain. Therefore, farming gets affected. The way the farmers are farming, and then the governments control the price for export, all of that's going to be changing. The end of oil, fuel, coal, anything coming out of the earth, we're coming to an end there too. But this is a build, renovate, restore. Less is more. It's about property, because property is made of earth, metal, and wood. So the way we live is going to be restructured. The world is aiming for a one world currency, which is very interesting, from 2023 already. A 4-year is masculine, male energy, which doesn't exclude female, because if you have a 4 in your day or your month, it might be in your life path, it could be in one of your names as a female, then you are female body with masculine energy. So this whole year is going to be about masculine energy, because 2019 was about feminine energy, and we have seen all of the uprising of abuse of women, but now this is about the men and about control or out of control, how they want to be the masters. That's all going to change. 2020 as a year is about people, excuse me, funny enough, who actually have a 5 life path. So this year, if you have a 5 life path and you haven't been operating on the positive and the honest, this will come home to roost and bite you. For example, we have Zuma, Jacob Zuma, 5 life path. So his court things will be escalating. We have America, who has a 5 life path. And a 5 life path means about power. But we're in a 4 global year. And when they hit their birthday on the 4th of July, starting 2 months before, actually, in the May, this 2020 number is going to be escalating with the difficulties regarding the power that they have in wanting to rule the world. So you're going to start seeing many companies disappear. And this is because everybody needs to restructure. We need to get back down to a very solid base, a very simple base, and a base that has a foundation. So if your industry or your business doesn't have a foundation, it cannot go into the new. But if it has that foundation, it can bring itself down, it can renovate itself, realign, redefine itself, and start from that small base, and how over the next couple of years be completely newly focused into where the world is going and how they are going to operate with their business and what they do in their business. So job losses around the world are going to escalate astronomically. Large shopping malls, the developers and the building companies and the contractors are not interested whether this is going to be working going forward, because they need the work right now. But that is over. You'll be going much more into your community. You're going to be going local, starting your own business, being entrepreneurial, especially because of technology. So getting your business, having a PayPal account and being able to service via your websites and everything. Education will go to technology. Homeschooling is escalating. Traditional old ways, if we're not teaching the children what they need in life from young, that's what we're going to be doing. It's going to happen. If you're going to study something at university, if it's not of the future, what is the point? Because there's not going to be jobs to back it up. You'll find that export from any country is going to be minimizing, because 4 is about doing destructuring or restructuring or getting rid of. You're going to find that there's no imports and exports. And countries that, for example, need metals or gold or whatever from South Africa, is the transport there because of the restrictions, because of the potential war of being able to export. If a war appears, with the Iran area and Iraq area and Americas, etc., and they close shipping lanes. That's not good, which actually reduces fuel going out of their countries, which gets them to change that they are not fuel exporters, that they're going into different industries. So, and I go back to that water. If we don't have water, or we have too much water, the farming is a huge problem. So everything has to change. Astrologically, they're now calling it the Aquarian age, which is technology, mechanical, electrical, technical, and chemical. It's all about the new stuff. So you've got to start looking at new industries. You look at the end of political parties. There will be something new that will emerge. We look at Hone Mashaba with the People's Dialogue. It's about South Africa speaking. Do you have that in your country? We look at Hong Kong and the uprising in Hong Kong and how people are communicating with one another. It's about the people. That's the whole thing, because Neptune in Pisces is all about, if you're not working to lift the people, take away that pyramid scheme that sits at the top of industries and balance things out, the universe is going to force the companies to do so. Can you imagine that in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, there will be no more racism, there will be equality, there will be the ability for people to stand up as an individual without having this control of and what I can and what I can't do. Because if you want to study, you can go online and study. It doesn't matter what country you come from, or what religion, or what race, or what age. You will be able to sign up and study whatever it is that you want. It's the time to invent. That is so important. We look at Elon Musk and his cars. The self-drive cars, I don't believe, are going to get better sooner, but they have to. But while we've still got people self-driving, the two are not going to work very well together. But that could shift and change and improve. But flying 16 hours from South Africa to America or vice versa is going to get shorter because of the different kinds of planes that we're going to have. So the world is starting to get everybody to go back to their roots, so to speak, because that is the base. And what is earth, metal, and wood? It's the rawness, the simplicity, and we have to rebuild. But in the meantime, the job losses, the breaking down of industries, the power and the control, which will be there, will start to diminish. And as they want to be more in power and more in control, the less they're going to have, because the people are going to rise to stop it. A 4 is also about death and endings. So we've already seen with the Iran a death of a general. That is also about changing the structure of the military and the way they operate. We've got to start working together with everybody, but we've got to start at home first. And if we can restructure and be a part of the cleanup, because 2,000 to 2,999 is about water, and if we're not cleaning our oceans, what are we going to have? If we're not getting rid of plastic, plastic is not made of earth, metal, or wood. We've got to get back to using glass, which is recyclable, which makes sense. You're going to see how many countries are not buying. Is it clothing? Is it food? Maybe they can't export, maybe they don't have, maybe the price is too high, maybe there's a war. But importantly is, as you are not able or it's not working anymore, that is what it's about. How can we look at things differently? How can we do things differently? How can we work together? And that's the important thing. So know that 2020 is digging deeper than we've expected, and it's going to dig even deeper thereafter. We get to 2021, and that is a whole nother story. That is change or war. It's very simple. So to the people out there, pull back. Get in touch with the people around you. Start using the smaller industries, the smaller businesses that serve you. Because dealing on a phone with a service center, we're not getting service. That's all going to change as well. So people, get back, start working from a base, simplify your lives, watch how you invest, watch where you invest. The one metal or product from the earth, being gold, I think is going to increase in value. So could silver. But there's going to be less and less of that mind, therefore it becomes more and more expensive. But what is our use for it? So with all the bad news, the good news is about new industries, new business, how you are going to get involved. If you can't get a job, be entrepreneurial, because the world is open with technology. Thank you for watching Sandy's Numerology.